A reminder that you will remain muted until the end. So welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on Enhanced Notification Engine for BMC Helix Digital Workplace, DWP for short. Today I'm joined by Deepak Rudra, one of our principal product managers at BMC for DWP. We also have Kaf, his counterpart for EMEA. He will be joining us as a panelist along with the rest of the team that will answer your questions during the Q&A section and also during the session. So just a reminder for those that are new to Zoom, at the bottom you'll see the Q&A section. If you have your questions if you can, please put them in there. We will try to endeavour to answer them. And then any questions that are still there at the end, the last 15 or so minutes, we will take them live. And also if you want to speak to us live, we will unmute you at the end. So before we get started and I hand over to Deepak, just a reminder, there is going to be some slides which are future. So our legal notice, just to read, if you can just take a moment. We can't guarantee everything will make the product, but we have got a lot of future forward-thinking slides for you today. So with that, I'm now going to hand over Deepak to do his formal introduction to get us started. Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you, and welcome everyone for this session. I'm really excited and looking forward to a great session today. It's been one of the highly asked, highly anticipated feature from Digital Workplace, and that you guys all of you have been expecting from BMC. So this is again, all of this what I'm going to show you is in the upcoming releases, and then at the end we are also going to look at the future, really what's going to be in the future for you all on this. So as you all know, I'm Principal Product Manager for Digital Workplace. My counterpart, Carl Anders, he is also on the call. He's part of the panelist. He's gonna be answering your questions. So feel free to drop your questions on the chat. And I have a very nice technical team who actually developed this on the call. So you have the right folks to really answer any questions related to the development, or if you want to get more technical insights. Anything that we are not able to answer right now, we'll take it up as a follow-up, and then we'll have a follow-up in the Q&A which gets posted on the communities. So without further ado, I'll take you through the agenda. So we are going to be looking at deep dive really. So it's not going to be like a marketing slides or high level discussion on what notification engine is. We are going to get our hands dirty today with how it works. What is the engine behind it, how it really works, how can you actually customize it, and things like that. So it's going to be core technical discussion. So I hope we are able to give you a lot of information, a starter before you even get the product. Then we're going to get into the demo part, where we'll show you, a quick demo of how it works. Again, it's a future-facing product. You don't have access to it. It's not released yet. It's a pre-release code that you're going to see today. Then we'll talk about future roadmap, what you can expect in next 3 to 6 months after upcoming release, and then we'll jump into your live Q&A. So stay tuned until end. Every section is very important for you to really understand and how can you align your organization goals with it. So this is probably the only marketing slide that you will see in this entire session. Everything else will be very technical, right? So what this enhanced new notification engine is, we have created a new notification engine for emails only, which is going to be available to you in Helix platform, which is again nothing but your innovations studio. Now, what does it really provides? It provides you a greater flexibility, how you can really change brandings, color, do a lot of customizations, have more control over when an email is sent, when you don't want to send any email, how you approve things, how you comment back on it. Really very robust, whatever you guys were really missing from a long time. Localization, you name it, a variable replacement, all of that. So I probably covered everything in a single sentence, but variable replacement, when to trigger the notification, approving, rejecting, putting it on hold, adding comments, your branding, and then if you are multi-tenant, you can really create different templates and processes for each tenant, each company. It doesn't matter. If you are even not multi-tenant, in single tenancy also, you can have different templates per company. It's a pretty big thing because a lot of customers really want different templates per company. You will be able to do that. All right, so now we get into the technical part. Really, how do you get started with this? And then what are the essential steps? What are the optional steps? Okay. So first thing first really is the important consideration, what you see at the bottom, and then we'll go through the process. This new notification engine, as you know, we are not developing anything for SRM, and we want you to really move away from SRM and migrate to DWP catalog. For that, we have already given a utility for converting SRDs, and you also have option for importing the catalog services, SRDs into a catalog service, right, through the import export. But then I would highly encourage, now it's the time for you to start using that utility. If you have not seen my webinar, go and check the previous webinars. There is a 90 minutes webinar I've done with a live demo how it works, and we are adding more capabilities in the subsequent release that you will see in what's new webinar, what we do, me and Carl Anderson, next few weeks. So it's only going to be supporting your native catalog services and the catalog services which are created from the reverse integration. What it really means is when you have an incoming email creating an incident, or an agent is creating an incident in Smart IT, a catalog item headless service is submitted, which creates a native catalog service. Also for business workflows, those of you who are licensed for business workflows know that you can create a case first and then it triggers DWP catalog request creation. So in those cases, it will work. For SRDs, it will not work. Okay. For imported SRDs that you have imported into DWP catalog, it will still work, but the functionality of replying to, when you actually reply on email, will not work in that case. Okay, so you need to be mindful about that. Before you go into this, I would highly recommend that at least you start converting your SRDs and look into DWP catalog, because that's a future of this catalog management. Push and in-app notifications, they continue to work the same way. We are not touching that at all. It's only focused on email notifications. Okay. Now the process really. So you first have, I do not imagine anybody running right now your ITSM system without a mailbox. So you can set up a mailbox if you don't have already, or if you have one, you can use that. So this step is really mandatory, but contextually it's optional because all of you are already using a mailbox. The next step is really to, it's optional, really optional, because it's only if you want to really modify something, you can use system out of the box. So you can have events are nothing but when to trigger a notification. When is the keyword really, right? Identifying in what condition do I need to really trigger a notification. It can be vast variety of qualifications that you can use. So first, defining an event, a name of an event is important for you. And then next step is defining what template to pick up for that particular event is the key. So then comes the template, which is again optional for you. If you want to customize it, you customize it. If you don't want to customize it, you use out of the box one. So that's why we have mentioned optional. Then there is a process which combine all of these together. Okay, which does the variable replacement, which brings in your branding from DWP automatically in there, product logo, product name, everything, right? Secondary color, primary color, all of that, really it brings those in. That's a process really who is triggering that action. So you will have an innovation suite process which is going to be sending you the notification out to AR system email message. And it's also optional. You do not need to really customize it. I have covered customization part later in the slides to show you possibility, which was asked in the previous webinar from some of you as participants. So I'll show you that example. Last, which is an important part, is to enable the notification engine, because you want to really tell the product that now I don't want to use DWP old email notification engine, and I want to really start using the new notification engine on Helix Innovation Suite. So you do that configuration, and then last part is auditing, which I feel all of you will do, because you always complained in the past that we have no way of tracking the emails which are sent by DWP. If they fail, we do not know they ever failed. We do not know how to process them really if they are failed, right? All of that is now available, taken care. Okay. So you have a form where you can go and identify what notification was sent out, what failed, and you can re-trigger those even before it makes to AR system email messages for outgoing notifications. Okay. So we'll go into each of these bucket areas now. So first is configuring notification engine, which was key, I told you in the beginning. Now things get more technical. So all of you have mailbox configuration in your system, AR system email mailbox configuration. Um, of you who do not have, I'll just try to educate you. It's a configuration that you do for your SMTP POP3 server for incoming and outgoing. And you can define who's the sender of this. Is this a default mailbox? Yes or no, right? All those kind of things. So first you define an outgoing mailbox, really. What is your outgoing mailbox, right? If it's a default, you see a default outgoing mailbox, you can have it set to yes. If it is not, then you have to really go and set this into the email profile. You have to create an email profile first. Email profile is an innovation suite, and I'll show it to you once we get into the demo. But in order to do this configuration, you will start seeing here that I have the tools listed. You will need mid-tier and innovation suite. You need to have admin permission, and you need to configure mailbox. And then in innovation suite, you need to really go and configure email profile. Email profile is only needed if you do not have a default mailbox, okay? And you'd want to send notification from a specific mailbox, DWP notification. So we give you that level of granularity that if you do not want to send all the notification out from one email mailbox, you can actually choose which mailbox I want to use for sending out DWP notification and what reply to address I need for sending that out. So that level of granularity you will get. So we'll get into that. Don't get overwhelmed with this. But right now your basic is set the mailbox configuration, set the profile. Okay. And then we'll see how the profile is used. Then I just talked about this. This is an optional step, but if you do not want to have a default notification, a process is available in DWP Smart Bundle, which will be called as send notification through email engine. In order to access that, you need to have Innovation Suite application access, and you have to be an administrator role. You will go into workspace, digital workplace, smart bundle. Then you look at the processes, what you see here, and this is a notification. When you open this notification, this is the one which actually is a heart, which processes entire notification messages, does the variable replacement, bring in the logo, colors and everything, branding colors, everything, right? That's the one which brings it in. And then it basically, once it sends the notification out to your system email messages, it basically changes the status of the the message to send or not sent. That helps you in further troubleshooting. But here we are looking at associating a mailbox that is not your default. So what you can do, in the previous step you created a profile, you can just simply associate a profile. So now you are telling your process, use this mailbox for sending out the notification. Okay, straightforward, simple enough. And then we'll look at reply to address in some time. How can this is only for sending it out, but when we deep dive into replying to something, then we'll look at how do you set the reply to address. Feel free to put your questions on the chat if it is difficult to understand, and my technical panel will respond to it. Now, the next step for you is again optional, but I would highly recommend that you do that in order to get familiarity with the product. You have events and templates. I would like you guys, once you have this release 23.304, which is coming up in next few weeks, to review the notification events and templates so you know what it is really. Without this, it's your foundation. You cannot proceed further. So in this release that's coming up in next few weeks, we have 12 templates, email templates available out of the box, which are highly used, by the way, by all the organizations. Request notification, which comprises of single request submitted, order submitted, which is like bundle, or you are submitting a cart with multiple requests. You somebody comment on the request, then status changes, various status changes really, and then when it is shared with different people under the collaboration umbrella. So if you're using collaboration feature, yes, you are covered. Then the next part is approval. When you have single approval, multiple, like the order approval, when somebody comments, on the, for the approver needs to know if a comment was made. When you delegate your approval to somebody, when the delegation is removed or added, and then last but not least, surveys, really. So all of this is available. To me, it's because we have to do it in a phase-wise approach. Other notifications will follow in the next release, and I'll show it to you. But this is the vast majority of the notifications that every customer uses today. Okay, so you can get started really with this right away. So before even going there, this is the new view really what you're going to see. Okay, you will see logo, product name, right? And then all these requests, and we'll deep dive into this, but it works really nice on the mobile form factors. It shrinks in the small screens. It works on Gmail. It works on Outlook web, Outlook web access everywhere on your Outlook client. We have tested all of that from um, you know, the adaptation to the view. Really, it's really robust in that case. Now, events and templates. As I said, events and templates are the key for you to really understand what this is really. Okay. Again, you need to understand the out of the box templates in order to utilize it to its full potential. So you need innovation suite access. As I said, you need to be administrator minimum to access this. No business analyst role, nothing. Administrator is the must. Then when you open the administration, under notification configuration, you will see manage templates and manage events. And I'll show you in the live demo what I really mean. Here you can actually see each event, and then under each event, associated to each event, you will have templates that I have highlighted here. You got to filter. There are a lot of templates available. Those of you using business workflows will see a lot of templates, because that's going to be like central place for business workflows also. But you can filter by the by supporting product really. So I'll show you that, um, how you can filter. So you're going to get all those 12 templates here. When you expand that, you can look at the subject, body, recipient list, localization. I'll also talk about localization in a minute. And you can see something like this when you edit it. Okay. So you'll see variables. Those of you who are familiar with ITSM already know what variable replacement was, right? You can customize, you can have anti-sys process control was actually replacing your variables on the runtime. You had events written, right? When to trigger, same logic here. You will have variables replaced from the schema where you're getting this, and then it can be replaced on the runtime. You give a placeholder and it's going to be replaced on the runtime. We also have support for calculated field, which are like keywords. So you don't have to really create things of your own. And I'll talk about that, but mainly consider this as branding, your themes of your product logo, your product name. They're all given by us as the keywords really. So you don't have to really worry about, okay, BMC, how do I fetch this information? How do I put this on my, new notification? It's all there really, whatever you need to know. And then sky is the limit after that. Once you have that, if you want to do your own customization, you can do that. Right. And then, as you can see in this screenshot, you have events and templates here, which I will show you in some time. But this was the whole idea, so that you get familiar really. Also, we have if then else qualification in the template. Okay, what that means really? It means those of you who are familiar with the programming, you can define conditions. If this condition is met, then show this particular data in the notification template. Else end. Okay, very simple. It's programming that you can actually do the programming really. So let's assume in a note, it's a one single notification where you have everything, including yearly cost, repeated cost, one-time cost. You may not have yearly cost in one of the catalog item, whereas you have it on some another one, right? If someone could, some catalog items could be free. There could be no recurring cost. So how do you hide those? Do you have to really create each notification for each of those? Answer is no, right? So we have given that if then else logic that you can program these in the same template, have condition, and then show and hide the data based on that. And I'll show you an example once we get into the demo part. Okay. It's even in the slides ahead, but I just wanted to show you or talk about this a little bit. Okay, so branding and notification templates, I already talked about this a little bit, but this is a zoom up, zoom in view of that template. Okay, if you can see it better. Now, as I said, your brandings will be copied over. If you are a multi-tenant environment in a MSP mode, yes, your branding per tenant will be copied over. You don't have to worry about it. If you are in a single tenant, then your branding for that particular tenant will be moved over. If you don't want to use any of our brandings, you feel free to basically customize it. I would always recommend create a copy. Do not go and modify anything in the base mode. It will be overwritten when BMC upgrades. So create a copy of the template, create a copy of everything that you want to modify, and then use it. Okay, so product logo, product name, color themes, and then I was just telling you on the previous slide that we have calculated variables that you can use. So these are the ones: header, background color, home page link, product name. It's a lot of things really that you can look at it once you get the product. So logos are also pulled from there, the product names are there, and then if you see here, there is a if qualification, and right, and then you can have or inside. So it's more of a programming really, and I'll show you a practical example of that in some time. Okay, so now comes the very essential part, because we are enterprise level product. We are all dealing with international customers, those who are from different region. You also support customers or your end users internationally. Localization is the key, and we have not forgotten that really. So you all had seen problems in the past with localization on the DWP notification. That's going to go away with this new notification engine. Prerequisite is you have to move to this new notification engine. Okay, and then you can also customize it according to your thing, so you don't have to really wait for BMC to translate something for you and put it in a static notification. We will do it, but if you can't wait, just go ahead and customize it, and I'll show you the customization way. But right now we're talking about reviewing first. So when you open a template, then you go to template and you see subject and body, you have a locale on the top really. Okay, again, as I said, the path here you have to follow is Innovation Suite, Administration, and then go to the templates, and then you can open that. So each we support 31 languages. Every template that we have shipped right now, 12 templates, are all localized in all 31 languages. Okay, so you can actually look at each version of those, and I'll talk about a little bit of limitation here, but you can overcome that very easily with a small customization. But DWP has shipped everything really, all 31 languages. So the moment you click on it, those of you are those who are Germans can understand this is in the German right now. I'm just showing you a view that it's all there. So you can easily look at it. If you do not like any translation specifically from BMC, just go ahead and create a copy, disable this, and use it. Okay, very simple. So you're not restricted, by BMC to provide you something. You can always submit a ticket and tell us, hey, this is wrong, and then we will work with our translation team for localizing, right, and having the right accents. And we have been working a lot with our customers, Canadian customers, German customers, on all of these localizations. So that's how you can get to your templates, localized templates, and review it. And you can see real good, robust editor here that you can use, and again, that using that you can modify your template if you want to. Now, this is an optional step. Why am I bringing this up? Because DWP has highest levels of locales as compared to other products. Now you will be using combination of the three products: CTM people form for localize, notification preferences, and then you are using notification engine, which is now a common library, which is on Innovation Suite, and then you have DWP, which supports 31 languages. So ITSM supports, CTM people, you will see 13. Notification engine that we have, a common library, supports 15 right now. In this release, we cannot just bump up those products to really have more notification, more locales, but at least what we can tell you is how can you cope up with this situation. So it's an optional step. If in this drop down for notification tab in CTM people, this is the one which is going to govern what locale is for that user, and then what is the delivery mechanism. So stay tuned. I'll also talk about this, but we are focusing only about locale at this point. So if you do not see a locale here in this list, you can actually open tools, and I have mentioned tool as your dev studio. Open this form, and then you can actually go ahead and add a locale here. That's not there, okay, in the drop down list. And we will have, so you don't have to really absorb all of this right now. There will be documentation on this on docs, which will guide you how to do it, but I just want to show it so it's not unknown to all of you. So you got a language that you really want to enable in your organization. You just got to go into the developer studio, add it here. Then you are already familiar, there is a form called sys menu items. So you also got to add that locale in the sys menu items form. Then, as I said, you have three components here really: DWP, topmost, which has got all locales. You don't need to do anything there really. ITS, CTM people, I just told you. And then there is another library, which is notification, which is responsible for sending out notification. So you really need to go into the notification service that's now available with this release. And then there is a schema called notification locale. You go ahead and edit it there. So that locale is now available for you from the drop down in the template. So if I take you back into the previous slide, this is the one I'm talking about. The moment you add it there, you'll start seeing a locale added here. Okay. And then we already have the template. You will have the corresponding template available right away. You don't need to do anything. It's all available. Okay. But I just want to tell you, if you do not see a locale, these are the steps you need to follow. Very simple. All right. Now, customizing the notifications, which is all of us really want. Nobody wants to use really out of the box solution, right? Um, People want to really customize, brand it according to their organization. Very straightforward, pretty simple. Now, I showed you in the beginning, you have templates. Again, you need to be on Innovation Suite, Administrator. As I said, create a copy always. Do not mess up with the out of the box ones. They will get overwritten if the upgrade happens. And then you need to go into again manage notification configuration, template settings. And as you can see, I can also go and edit this in the HTML. So if you are super nice developers, those who know in and out about HTML, have them develop in the HTML and just basically create a new notification template. For example, this is one of our UX folk who really designed this in order to show this, the capability. It's same notification coming out from DWP, new notification engine, but you can see it has no branding really to related to BMC at all. So sky is the limit. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Your creativity is your limit really with this. Okay. If you don't want to really go into this HTML editing, then you have the normal UI where you can drag and drop things and add it, which I showed you in the previous screenshots. Okay. Now, um one question that I repeatedly get is, how do I add more variables from different schemas into my notification? So a lot of you asked me really, resolution, when I send a resolution or when I send a survey, can I have resolution summary from the fulfillment system really passed into an email? Answer is yes. And I'm showing you the live example here. So what I did really, I picked up the survey notification. Okay. Then added I added a qualification of if then else, really the one which I was talking. So I just added a, if there is a value for resolution, then show it, otherwise don't show it. So let's assume there was no resolution. You don't want to send out your notification blank with resolution and blank really, right? So then you dynamically hide this. So that's the power of that if then else I was talking about. Okay. Then you saw the notification template. So I really customized it. I actually went into getting the request ID. Then I looked up into the external activity record definition to pull up the fulfillment number. And then I actually did a query of the resolution summary from that incident. And then I overwrite a field which was available in that notification table. Now, we do not want you to really reuse any system fields in that notification table. Whenever you customize, we recommend you create your own fields. I did not want it to mess up with the system, so I did not really do anything. I used one of the out-of-the-box system. My recommendation is do not do that. Create a new field. It's very simple. In IS, you just go ahead, update the record definition, add a new field, whatever data type you want, and then use it. Okay. But in this case, I use a field, existing field that we use for system processing, text9 to update, and then I triggered the send notification and which send out the notification. So as you can see, my survey email out of the box one, and then I have a resolution copy pasted from the ticket, directly from the ticket, dynamically fetched from there. And it's going to work in every scenario wherever you have resolution summary. Okay. So in work orders, I guess there is no resolution summary, right? Then it won't show up really. You can use the same template for different scenarios. All right. And we'll see a live example of this. Now, the last part is very important, which is essential. Without this, you cannot have the new notification engine enabled. There is a new configuration that we have introduced in DWP administration. So in order to do this, you need to be DWP admin, go into the DWP administration application, and then under email notification settings tab, you will see email configuration. Here, from a new drop down is introduced where you will see what notification engine would you like to use. So you can fall back, you can try it in your dev system, QA system, fall back to the new one, sorry, fall back to the old one, move over to the new one, your choice, really. So you switch here really and it gets activated. Okay. No restarts, nothing needed. The only thing that you need to really use, you need to still have the backend URL, which is used for processing of the emails and having the deep linking, and a reply to address. Okay, I promised you I'm going to talk about the reply to address, and here I am on that topic now. So reply to address is, now with this release you will be able to respond to the notifications, and when you respond you need a reply to address really. And a lot of customers that I've interacted with, they say, hey, default one, we have a default one is enough for us. There are some customers those who say we have individual reply to for each notification, sorry, for each outgoing mailbox. All of this is possible. So you define one global one here which you want to use. Okay, in case you have reply to address superseding this one, this will be overwritten. Okay, the moment you do that, and I'll show you how this is going to happen. It's very simple, it's configurable in the process. So when where you really created the outgoing profile, you also have option to set up the reply to address. In case you are not one of those customers who really want to have different mailboxes for outgoing and incoming, and you just have one reply to address, this is sufficient for you really. So you can have a reply to address. This will be the same address which will be used for approving via email, which is also part of this release, and commenting via email. Okay, so pay attention to it, it's very important setting. So you need to do this in order to consume the new notification engine. Last but not the least, really very important is your, a lot of customers have asked me, I do not want to be limited to notification locale of my browser, because I work for like two different agencies. When I switch, I do not want like notification in that particular locale. I want it in a different locale. So we have divided UI locale and the notification locale into two different parts. UI locale, if you have hidden it from your end users, that's okay. You can keep hiding it from DWP. They won't even know that it existed, right? But you can define in which locale they get their notifications. So under the notification tab, this will be probably, according to me, the most uh, heavy lifting task for you all. But I'm pretty sure you are well versed with data wizard jobs, and not data wizard, but jobs to really update the data. But what you'll have to do really is you have to set the notification availability as yes for those individuals. Default locale is set to English. In case it is not there, you have done any customization and the locale is not found, it will fall back, our notification engine will fall back to the English US locale. And you have to specify the notification mechanism really. Okay, it's going to be email, alert, or email here really in the people form. That also means if you were not using it before, you will have a little bit of work to suppress any notifications that you do not want them to get really. But I can't imagine like really you do not have these settings, because a lot of customers who are using SRM were relying on this already. So, but thing to know that this is a setting that will be available. Right now, it's not available to your end user. In next release, it's gonna be available to your end user, and we'll talk about that future roadmap. Okay. And in the general tab, you have work email, and that work email shows up in your profile here, work primary. That's going to be the one which will be used for all the email communications. So this is probably the most heavy lifting part you'll have to do. But considering you're already using ITSM, won't be a big deal, according to me. But would like to hear from you all on questions if you have questions around this or any concerns. Now the last part, so you all good, you are live. Now how do you audit really? So your users are pretty happy getting the notification. How do you audit? Auditing, you need to understand this entire architecture really, what this architecture is. So look at the boxes really, those boxes are the building blocks for this notification. You have DWP Tomcat, which is responsible for creating an entry into DWP notification definition, which I said is the staging where you gather all the data and you store it, and then it processes it, the process processes it, and then forward it to your system email messages. So it creates, so it first check whether the new notification engine is enabled, yes or no. If yes, then it pushes an entry into DWP notifications record definition. Then event, then a rule is triggered. So the rule is on create, on modify, on update really of that DWP notification, which triggers a process, innovation suite process. And that's the process I've been showing you all in the previous slide. So first step is you look at whether the notification entry is created or not. Second, you see whether the process to replace the variables, to to change things on and before sending it out to your system email messages, has that been done or not. So you can look at the process execution history in the innovation suite, and we'll see that. I'll show it to you. This is a common library which takes care of sending out, runs the actions, and then use it for sending out the notifications basically, right? It basically adds an interface between your smart bundle and the AR system email messages. So then it pushes, it basically picks up the locale, picks up the email address and all of those, but you don't have to really worry about all of this. It is working pretty fine, and it's adopted from business workflow, which is already in production for many customers. So don't need to really worry about this part. But then you have, once this is all traversed through all the data variable replacement, all of this is done, um, and the email is picked up, then the next thing that goes out is entry to AR system email messages form. So you have multiple checkpoints before seeing an entry into AR system email messages. Once it's in AR system email messages, it would act as if any other notification from your ITSM system, okay, or your innovation suite platform. And then you have and the last step is notification is sent out. So if you have any email stuck, you would probably check here first step whether the notification was triggered and entry was created into notifications. Did the process run to pass it on to the notification engine, the library there? And if it was done, if it was executed successfully, then you should have an entry here in AR system email messages. You can trigger all of this from scratch. So let's say a record was here and it did not process. So there is a status field there. If you want to really reprocess that, you go and edit that record and change the status to assigned and save it. It's automatically going to trigger the process again. Okay. So it's same like AR system email messages. You can re-trigger the, and same like ITSM where you have NTSys process control form where you could re-trigger the stuck notification. So same mechanism. Okay. That's about troubleshooting. And the next part we are going to talk about. So now we know about notification engine already a lot, correct? The next step is outgoing is fine. Now, how do I respond to it? Now you will be able to start approving, and you can easily reply to email messages. Okay, you don't have to really open. So on the go, really, you can do all of that. So you will see this kind of template for approval. You will have buttons. You will have approve, reject, on hold, and post a comment. And post a comment is also in capability to reply in all the notifications. So approve, reject, and hold, you all know about this, but it used to cross launch to the, it basically used to cross launch to the DWP interface, not anymore. Now you will be integrated with the Helix platform approval engine, and then you can respond to it. All you got to do is just got to set some settings in your incoming mailbox for parsing the email. Okay. The moment you do that, you can provide your justification, and the justification will also go to the comments section as well as to the I button there. If it is rejected, then you have an I button where you can hover over. So it's approval engine functionality, but we are also taking it to the comment section. Now, If you do not want to do all of this really, and you want to ask more information, a lot of customers ask me, okay, I don't have a capability to ask more questions really. I need to go into DWP and ask more questions. Now, using a post, a comment, you can still keep the approval on and respond to it with a comment so that the requester know if they need to provide you some additional information. And then you can chat on the comments a little bit. One thing to know, and we'll talk about this, post a comment button is the button have that you have to use really. Otherwise, if you just reply on, just use the reply button of the client, email client, emails will not process. The reason is RBE, the rule behind that is RBE, and I'll show it to you next really. Yeah. So you have for all the notifications, you have post a comment. Okay. The reason, there are multiple reasons to have post a comment button rather than using reply functionality there. First, foremost, you need to grab the request ID really when responding back. So you do not want to have all emails with request ID and confuse your users. You just want to click on it and then it automatically updates the notification subject line with that. Additionally, how many of you are really frustrated with work log entries with whole email chains? I'm pretty sure everybody is really. So you had to really write your own customization to trim that off the last message and only update the last work log entry. We do not want digital workplace to be a work log system like ITSM where you have all the work logs in the comments, people responding to on the chain one after the other and it keeps appending really. We do not want that to happen. Okay. So we do not even want you reply to a template and the entire template body is really pushed over there. So we introduce this. If you reply to it with reply button of the client, it will fail or you will get RBE message that your message failed. But if you use post a comment button, email message will open, trimming off everything from the background. Whatever information is essential along with attachments, you just add it and then you send it. And it's going to be just like a work log entry here. So as you can see a schematic diagram, you send an email, it comes to incoming messages, AR system email messages, then RBE picks it up. Then you have a service request stub form where the rule applies. So we have a new rule in RBE called add worklog for service request stub form. And then we from ITSM patch that is implemented on your system, we have a plugin for connections that we do. But essentially, you don't have to really worry about all of this. It creates entry into your activity log on the digital workplace. Plus, this activity update will be broadcasted to all the fulfillment systems that are actually fulfilling that particular request right now. So let's say you have incident or business workflow case, the agent will also get an update. So it's not only limited to DWP, it will be passed on to the fulfillment systems also. The another reason for post a comment button to be available is we are also aligning with commenting rules from the DWP UI. So wherever we are not providing a state to comment. What if your user just responded to a completed request or a closed request? They will say, hey, I responded to it, but nobody really paid attention to it, right? You do not want to do that. So for the completed notification and all of those, you'll start seeing that post a comment is only available in the states where you have state available in the old UI, sorry, in the DWP UI to really comment on it. If you do not have that, you will not have that here, this button here as well. Again, if you want to customize, but we want to ship an enterprise level product where we align with our UI and our email communication. Okay. Now, this is all about this upcoming release, and I hope this last 45 minutes were really fruitful to all of you. We'll look into the future and where we are heading in next 3 to 6 months after the upcoming release. So upcoming release is next few weeks, somewhere in November. I cannot give the exact date, but where you will get all of that I've shown you. But what else is coming in the subsequent release? So notification templates that we were not able to provide in this release, service health notifications, social collaboration related notifications. There are three. And then you have appointments. If you're using appointments, those notifications, templates, then external user, those of you who are aware about the self registration portal for your people not belonging to your organization, there are certain emails that gets triggered. In this release, we do not have that capability, but then you will be able to customize all of this in subsequent release. So our vision is 3 to 6 months, depending upon when the next release is after this release. And last but not the least, what I just told you in the beginning, uh, notification locale preference for the end user. Okay. So you want to really give them capability to change their own locales, end users. Yes, you will be able to do it in next 3 to 6 months. This will be a new setting on the user preference setting in DWP that you will be able to select. And then that will automatically sync with CTM people. So people do not have to really come back to your administrators to change their locale preferences. So we are getting rid of that in next release. Okay, so enough of talking, and I think I will just go into the demo part real quick now. So let's quickly refresh the sessions. Okay, so I'm gonna submit a request right now, and then or maybe I'll just use one of my existing ones and then show you how the notification comes out, right? So we'll pick up an example of a guest Wi-Fi access. I am raising a request for, let's request again. Okay, I'm just using the pre-filled values and submitting it, and then we'll wait for the notification. A polling cycle is a little bit higher, but you will eventually get it in a minute, right? And then we'll take a look at it. So let's go back to the activity. Few things to note for the request number. You have request which just got submitted, and it will go into the approval state in few seconds. And then the request ID is 1225, right? And then I'll just quickly just wait for the notification to come out. Um, yeah. And meanwhile, while this is happening, we'll quickly look at the ARs, the innovation suite part, the application, right? And then inside digital workplace, I just told you that there is a intermediary staging created, which is called notification. But before I do that, I'll jump into that. I'll show you the notification. So here we are, request ID 1225, Wi-Fi ordered on October 24th. It's actually picking up my, image and all everything from the brandings. And then I have a capability now either to cross launch or post a comment, right? So I can just quickly post a comment. So the moment I click on it, it's open, and then you can see now the subject line is automatically appended with, um, the request ID. So I can say, hi, I need this approved ASAP. Okay. And you can just be funky. You can add some attachments. They will go. Let me quickly add an attachment here. So here it is. I'm adding an attachment, a JPEG, and I'm sending it. Okay, so we'll wait for it to process, but let's take a look at the request really. I hope it's gone into approval. And if it has gone into approval, then my approver would have got another email for approving it. Okay, so as you can see, it's gone for the approval to Paul. And then let's quickly take a look at Paul's profile. Let's refresh Paul's profile here. So Paul got the approval for 1225. Let's take a look at the email for Paul. So we'll take a look at the preferences. Okay, so it's a Gmail address. I also wanted to show you how it looks on Gmail. I hope I got it. I haven't got it. Yeah, we have a higher polling interval. So yeah, here it is. Okay. So you see on Gmail, I have just 0 minutes ago, and you look at the layout, pretty nice. And you see you have option to approve, reject, put on hold, or post a comment. Okay, now you can do one of these actions. So I would, post a comment. I'm already showing you it would do the same thing, but I can also approve. So and you have a footer which says you can respond to it using one of these actions or contact your help desk. So it's pretty straightforward. You can customize all of this. So I'm going to approve. So the moment I approve, I can add a justification. So approved. If I don't want to do anything, I can just say approved and send it, right? And I'm just going to send it. So I just wanted to show you that my um, response, my justification will also be added. Okay. So let's refresh the request, and it's going to take a little bit while because there's a polling interval, but let's see. So this was my initial comment. I need this approved ASAP. I sent it from my mailbox, and you can see I have an attachment. So I can click on the attachment, and we can see what's in the attachment. Let's give it a minute. I don't know why it's not downloading. It should be downloaded. Yes, you have it. And here is the attachment. Okay. So you have image, which was from my signature because it's parsing the plain text, and then the other file which I just attached, 3 megabytes, which is compressed and now attached to it. So attachments are passed on. Now let's see if it is approved or not. Okay, you see it's approved. It's already approved by Paul. And do you see Paul's comment on approval justification is also moved here? You guys were all missing this from a long time, and I had a lot of you asking for this. We need comments or justification to be also passed here. In case of rejection, it shows up somewhere here, right? So I can just approve it, and it's going to say approved, and like a work order is created in the background. Yeah, approved, and then a work order is created in the background. Okay, so pretty neat, straightforward. This is one example. Now let's take another example of which I wanted to show you. Uh, Now let's, before even going into this, let's take a look at our basics really. So I told you in the beginning, we have first thing that we have to look at is the administration. Okay. So on Innovation Suite, you need to log in as an administrator, and then you have email where you basically set the profile, right? In my case, I will show you the mailbox configuration. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up the enabled mailboxes from my system. I have one incoming and one outgoing. Okay, and this is my outgoing mailbox, default outgoing mailbox. So even if I don't do anything and I just set the reply to address, I will be good. But if it is not, so if it is not my default mailbox, then I can make things work really. So right now it is set to yes. Then the next step that I told you is you go and create the profile in case you don't want to use your default mailbox. So we have a profile created here. So it's nothing, it's simple. You just go ahead and create a new entry, give it a name, and then you map it to an outgoing mailbox. And then you associate it to the application that you want to use. So I'm just saying that map this mailbox to this particular application, and this is the name of the mailbox, and this is the role of that mailbox. So once that is done, now, the next step that I told you is that if you have done this and you want to tell your process, hey, you need to only go and send the notification from this particular mailbox, not from 5 others, okay, or not from the default one. What do? You go into the notification configuration. Here you have, sorry, not here, but you have under your workplace applications, you have digital workplace. Process is the one which sends out all the notification, okay? That processes all the notification. So, um, just clicking on the process. Let's give it like few seconds to load. Shouldn't take that long to load. Okay, this is the one which I customize, but essentially you will see a smaller subset. You will see send notification, you will see send processed rejected, and then there is one small enhancement that we have done for reply to address. So here on this process, when you send the notification, as I said in the beginning, you can define the profile. And this is only in case when you do not want to use a default mailbox. So you can just select the profile which you pre-configured. If you are one of those customers who do not want to get into any of these, keep it blank. And then just set the, inside DWP administration in email and notifications, just set your reply to, This is the setting I was telling you. This is the old DWP setting. This is the new notification engine setting. Just set your reply to address for approvals and incoming emails. The moment you are done with this, you do not need to really do this. But those who have the need of having multiple mailboxes and are not able to use the default mailbox, this is your key really. So you can set your profile here, and this is for your outgoing. Now for incoming, you already have a setting here, but let's assume you want to say, I am the one who's working with LOBs. My HR LOB has a different outgoing mailbox and different incoming. My facilities have a different outgoing mailbox and different incoming. Yes, we have a provision for all of that. So you would define really a default one here, reply to address. But what will you do really? You will have duplicate processes for sending out the notifications for each of those LOBs. Okay. Then you can define um, which mailbox to use and then reply to address. So there is a reply to address here, but if you do not want to use that, you can suppress that and supersede it. So there is a variable that we have introduced in the process which is called as reply to address. So you can basically click on it and then can define a default value, and it will be picked up by this process. So then you have, for this process, you have an outgoing mailbox and a reply to address. Very simple. But if you do not want to get into any of these complexities, keep the default mailbox and really set this setting, reply to setting, and you are done. Okay. I just wanted to give a little bit more insight into this configuration. Perfect. Okay. So the overall process. So once the request is submitted, an entry gets created into this form. Let's take a look at, this is called notification. Okay. If you go ahead and edit the data, and this is the same place where you'll also be doing auditing. So entry is created here where all this runtime processing happens. So let it load. So you just saw me submitting that request 1225 for guest access, right? Wi-Fi access. Each of these emails which goes out will be a separate entity. You can actually click on it, and then Paul left a comment. We can look at it, or Liam left a comment. We can look at it. So this was for commenting. You will start seeing that which event triggered. So you will have the name of the event, which I just told you is something which is to define really what is going to happen or what template is going to be picked up. So it's actually telling you that this event was triggered. This is the data, and you will learn about this data. It's all core system fields that we are using really. Okay. So we are using all of this for runtime variable replacement. Um, and then you have all the information. So you have variables like background colors and all, everything you will understand once you read through the documentation. But I wanted to show you that each message will be an entry here. Okay. And they go into assigned status and then basically are processed. Once they are processed, they go into the status of processed. So if you are troubleshooting and you are trying to find out which one is not processed, you can add a column and filter through the ones which are not processed. So its status is already there, by the way. So you can just put a filter on it and look at each of these really. Okay. Then um, once this entry is created, right, it's going to remain there until the rule triggers. So now you are going into the rules. So again, you go back to the digital workplace application. You have a rule. So now consider this is a staging where the entry is created. Now there is a rule to tell that process, now please execute. Okay. So this is called as trigger notification process. It basically executes on after create, after update of the notification, the schema we were talking about, this notification schema, right? And then execution order. And then you basically you call the process which is send notification through notification engine. So if you have to customize things, you can start customizing at this level. You can have different processes based on different conditions and then say trigger another process altogether. So you will get hold of it once you start using it. So the process is triggered. Next step after this is process. So then you go to the process and then this process was executed. Okay. So let's open the process again, which I showed you in the beginning. Now, what this process is doing, as I said, you have some variables which you will understand once you read through the documentation. But what it does really is, you are sending a reply to address. Then in this case, this is a small customization I did to show you guys that I can get data from some other system like resolution summary in the survey email. But let's assume there was no reply to address, then it will use the one which we have defined here, and will skip all of this part and go into send notifications. Okay, here it's gonna basically set the source ID and then pass the value map, and then it gets changed to the processed. So basically what you are saying is once it is done, you are changing the status of the notification to process. So it's gone from DWP notification table and is now pushed to the notification engine. Okay, so this is our checkpoint one. If you remember from the slides, you have already crossed the checkpoint one. Now it goes to the notification engine. Okay, after that there is notification engine, and then you start seeing these entries into AR system, and that will basically process all the variables and the localization, and then you start seeing everything into the AR system email messages form. So let's see all the outgoing mails. Let's hope we get the one which was created today. Yes, so guest Wi-Fi, status change in progress. These are the ones which I just was demoing you all. You have the HTML body for it, and then same rule applies. You can just go and troubleshoot whether this was sent, message was sent or not, and you can reprocess it. So nothing too complex if you're already familiar with this. Now, the next thing that comes up is looking at the templates, okay, and the events. So you go to the administration, you have notification configuration where you have events and templates. So first thing you need to look at is the events. Okay, so event name, I use DWP and percentage to filter. These are all the events that we have. So one classic example that I'll show you for customization was a survey, but let's assume you are looking at an event for request submitted, right? DWP request submitted. It's just nothing but it telling you for which company, what company you have the process, and then what is the description. Sorry, what is the event, not the process, event. And then what you need to do is you need to configure the template. Okay. And then you need to tell the template if this event is triggered, I'm gonna send this particular template out for the notification. Okay. So approval, order submitted, service request commented, service request submitted. Okay. So this is the key, really, the heart. So here you have a description, you are defining a module which we have integrated. You will see more modules, not more modules, but more integrations here, but in the subsequent releases. But you will see the status is active. It's to a global company, but if you create a copy of it, you can associate it to a different company. Then recipients are actually picked up by DWP, so you don't need to really worry about that. Then comes the email. So right now you're looking at the English version. You have a subject that you can edit. And as you can see, there is a dynamic field variable replacement. These field IDs are from that notification, DWP notification staging form, which staging schema that I just showed you. That's a key. Do not customize the out of the box fields because they are all, these field IDs are all from there and are used there. So do not do that. Add your own if you want to customize. Now let's take a look at the body, right? In English for now. Sorry. Okay. So here is the body. So you have the logo, then you have the keywords, which I said the calculated keywords which are there. Then you have these if then else condition. So right, you are also using or qualification between if. So it's evaluating. If this happens, then do this. So for example, I will show you one such example, but I'm just trying to tell you here is if you take this example, right? If this field is available, then show this one time colon and then this value, right? And then it goes to the next step for evaluation. If this is the field, this field, the value was null, it will basically omit it and your end user would not even know that there was something. Okay. And same way, if there is a repeated cost, so you are doing if and parsing that variable to understand whether that's null or not. If it is there, then repeat is will come as a keyword, as a string, and then this will be replaced on the runtime from your notification table. So if you need to add anything custom, add custom, but remember to use those field IDs. Do not touch out of the box fields. And then you have these logos. These are all dynamically replaced. And then you have a post a comment button. But this is not it. You have this editing functionality that you can customize this. Plus, now it opens another level of administrative task for you. You have the HTML code, complete code. Copy paste it, modify it, whatever you like, bring it back. Make sure you have the right variables if you want to abide by BMC's variable replacement. If you want to have your own footer, header, colors, feel free. We are not stopping you from there. Okay. So this was about template. Now localization, really. So as I said, you have 15 here, but you can get more added if those are not meeting your need. But you can immediately just, as I said, those 2, 3 simple steps, add the locale. It will start showing up here. The moment you click on it, you will have a locale from DWP because we are shipping everything in 31 languages. So for example, let's take a look at German. Okay, so this is the body, and you can see everything is translated already. Okay, the fields which are static, dynamic things will be picked up from your dynamic data, really. So we don't control that. That's something that you control. So a lot of you asked me really about this. You had no flexibility. Now you have all the flexibility. Every customization that you do is going to remain into that localized version in that of the template. Okay, all you got to do is, if you do not find one, then add one through those steps and it will be available to you. All right. So this was about uh, the the templates. Okay, and let me just quickly go through my topics. What else did we wanted to cover in this? So we want to touch base a little bit about the customization part, right? The template. So I showed you how this is done, but let's take a live example of survey notification, which I customized in order to show you the possibility of getting the the resolution summary from the fulfillment. Okay. So what I've done, we'll go back, we'll not come to the template first, we'll actually go back to our process. So you go to your processes. In this process, what I've done, you need to have a little bit of knowledge on the schemas really to make it work, but I hope you had worked in this field for a long time. All of you know really the schema. So what I'm doing essentially, um, I have a reply to address set. Okay, let's evaluate the condition. So yeah, reply to is null, but I have a reply to set is, as I showed you in the beginning, I have a default value for reply to address set here. So it will never be null. So that means this branch is going to be executed. So then what I'm doing here is I'm actually getting from the notification, I'm actually getting the ID of the request. So I'm getting it from the text one field, and which is our core field, where from there I'm pushing it into a process variable called request ID. Then I'm doing lookup. So I'm looking into external activity in DWP. The fulfillments that are actually created are called external activities. So I'm looking up into the external activity and I'm trying to compare the request ID from here into that, and I'm actually getting the fulfillment number from there. So what I'm really doing is external activity display ID. It's going to be a work order number, incident number, or a change number, or business workflow case number. I'm writing it into a process field called external activity ID. Okay. Now what I'm doing after picking that, so now I have my request a number, now I have the fulfillment number. Next I'm actually going into that ticket and pulling the resolution summary. So here I just took an example of help desk because that has a resolution. So I'm going to the help desk form and then doing a comparison of incident number equal to external activity ID, which is just something that I picked up just in the previous step. And I'm going to pull the resolution from there into a process field called resolution. Okay. And then I'm pushing that resolution into a field, into a field called text9. Let's take a look at the text9. and then it will be basically pushed to the notification record entry that is created, and it will be processed. So let's take a look at the record definition real quick. So while this is happening, I'll just quickly submit a service really, which will create an incident, so that we don't have to wait. I also want to take up your Q&As really. So last 15 minutes I want to keep for that. So I'm just going to request a service which actually creates an incident so that we get the survey email. Okay, so let's submit it. Meanwhile, it's going to send all the emails. But if you're on that schema, I just told you we have a lot of core fields, so I'm actually pushing that value into text9 field. Okay, but do not do that, create your own. This is just for the testing purposes and show you that it is possible. Okay, so, and then it will be populated and then it will be sent out. So now while the email is getting created, I will quickly go to the templates and show you that now I have the data in the staging table. How do I get that data into the notification template? So I'll again go back to the notification template and the one which was for the surveys, and then I'll look at the body. I'm customizing the body. And as you can see here, I have if condition. So this field ID, I'm just checking if this field resolution is this field is there, that's nothing but my text9 field, then just send the resolution and then end. If it is not there, it's going to be blank. Okay, so that's very simple customization that I have done in the survey email. Now let's see if I got an email and I have a fulfillment created. Yeah, so I just got an email that fix or repair was submitted. Okay, let's take a look at the incident number and we'll close that incident so that the survey email is triggered. So this is the one. Okay, let's go to Smart IT. Sorry, my bad. Or rather, we'll probably go to, let's see which loads fast. I just want to spend some time on the Q&A. Let's go to the mid tier real quick. The whole idea is you all are aware about Smart IT, but I really want to show some quick accelerator and then take your questions really. So search incidents. And this is just, you should always use Smart IT. This is just a quick accelerator because we're running out of time. So I just put this in progress and I just resolve it. Okay. All right. So the expectation is now that I will have the email with the survey email once this is resolved in, with that with that resolution details. So let's wait for a minute. While this is happening, I'll quickly show you last scenario about the localized emails. So if you go to your people form, where I said, we used example of an approver, right? Let's take example of the same approver and change the approver's locale to German, for example, right? Let's see. And then see the notification, how the notification looks like really. Okay. So you have notification for this user. This user was the approver. So I'm just changing the locale to German and saving it here. Okay. And then while this is happening, let's raise another request for Wi-Fi access because it goes back to that person. That person's UI in DWP is still English. Okay. But you will see the notification on Gmail will come in different locale. Okay, so let's wait for all of this to happen. Okay, this is still in progress. So approval will be attached to it. This is still in progress. It's just gonna take a little bit. Oh, so the incident is completed. Okay, so this is the one which we're talking about. The incident is completed. So you have a survey here, but I'm not gonna fill this survey. I'm just gonna look at, okay. So just now, as I was telling you, I have this email, okay, from fix or repair service. request ID 1226. Can you see a resolution was pulled from incident? That's the power of this notification engine. We are giving you keys to the kingdom. It's up to you really to customize up to the level that you want. Yes, try to understand it first, really, but you are not restricted anymore. Okay. And last example that we just want to look at is this person needs to really approve the the guest Wi-Fi access, and let's wait for the approval notification. But I see that email is already triggered to me, that it's already submitted. My locale was English, so I just got it in English. I just want to show you another example of this person getting the approver, getting it in the German locale, even though the locale on the DWP UI is still English. So let's give it a few seconds. Usually it's pretty quick, but okay, while this is coming up, we'll go to the last topic really, and I'll just show you the RBE configuration for incoming emails. So what you will start seeing is the rule configuration. In rule configuration, you will see service request stub entry, and then a rule use case called add work log. This will be the one which will be used for parsing your incoming emails. Okay. So we will provide you more details on this in the documentation, but all of you are really familiar with RBE, right? I'm pretty sure. So nothing new really. So that's what it is. And then you can suppress on success, on failure, on rejection. On rejection is important from according to me because you want to tell them it is rejected. So you need to keep that. And I'm just still waiting for because it is to Gmail, it takes a little bit of security scanning on our side because we are using corporate account really to send out an email. So we just have to bear for it, and then we'll stop. We'll give last 11, 12 minutes only for Q&A. Feel free to put your questions on the chat. Don't wait for you to be unmuted because there is a technical panel behind who can help you, and we can take up your questions if they are not answered on the chat. Once you go, mic is enabled for all of you. Yeah. Its internal was pretty easy, but it's actually going to an external email address, Gmail, so it takes a little bit. But I just did this test yesterday, and I can actually show you. I have, yeah, see, this was the German version. So I'm expecting something like this to come up, but as you can see, you have the translations, right? You have the translation, and then it is, you can have a different laptop or something, doesn't matter really. If you are using a public computer, it's in a different language, but your notification locale is totally different. You're still gonna get it as per your notification preference. And in the next release after this, you will have a setting for end user to really select their own locale. Okay, so I'll stop here. Unfortunately, it looks like it's still not clear. This email is not clear, so we'll stop here. We'll go into your questions and answers. Um, do you want me to bring up the slides real quick, Sam?
Oh, it's okay. Let's get through. It's fine. So I can see Makola is answering one of the questions. We'll start with Dinesh's, and your team has been super busy. I think we've had over 50 plus questions. So you would never have noticed that when you were demoing and presenting. So Makola, if you want to answer this question from Dinesh live, I will start unmuting everybody else. So Dinesh's question was, if my service request is creating record in custom IS application as a fulfillment ticket, so when comment is added on the service request via RBE rule, will it be broadcasted to my fulfillment record on my custom application? Makola, if you want to answer that, and I'll just unmute you, Dinesh.
Hello, can you hear me well?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, let me try to answer this question. So as far as RBE is concerned, it will take the email and it will deliver that email and transform it into a DWP comment and will add it to respective DWP service request. Then if fulfillment is really a record in custom Innovation Studio application, and then you might need to add something else, some like other customization to push it from DWP comment to that fulfillment ticket. Because right now it is pushed automatically to the tickets which are known for DWP, like incidents or work orders or change requests. So custom tickets, custom fulfillment will have to be implemented additionally. So it is basically the same as if you try to add the comment to DWP in DWP directly, and you can check if it is already pushed to fulfillment ticket, then it will be pushed the same way if you add it as an email or if you just use email. Hope this helps. Thank you.
Dinesh, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, that answers my question. Yeah, thank you so much. So I have one more question, okay, about the attachment. So if we add any attachment, while replying back to the RB rule, that will be broadcasted to the out of the box fulfillment record, right? For example, incident change or case, for example, that will be broadcasted, right, to the backend fulfillment record via email.
Yes, I would say. Because it is first it will travel to DWP request and will be added as DWP comment with attachment. And then it is just existing functionality of DWP to broadcast that into respective fulfillment ticket.
Okay, got it. So sorry, there's last question from my side. So we have another offering from BNCR, like which is Helix portfolio management, right? So if I create idea or a demand record from service request, uh, so will my comments or the attachments broadcasted to that product's ticket, for example, idea or a demand?
So are you creating a request, DWP request for it? Because that's the key.
Yes.
If you do not have a
Yes.
DWP request, is it a native catalog request?
Yeah, it is a native catalog request.
Okay. So as you saw, every integration that happens is through the stub form. If it's associated, that fulfillment is already associated, and you have a stub entry created, I don't think there should be any problem. But give it a try, and I'll also try to talk to the team who works on the portfolio management to understand this. But as long as the key is, if there is an associated catalog item and then there is an entry in the stub form, which will be there because you have a DWP catalog entry, the worklog will be added.
As of now, as far as I know, it doesn't create any
Yeah,
fulfillment record on the sub form for the HPM records.
So I need to, that's what I said. I can certainly go back, but you are talking about current scenario where we are talking about something that's going to happen with RBE in the future. So we need to really go back and talk to the team about that, and we can certainly come back. But to answer one of your other question, I just have this pulled up. I don't know if you can see my screen. If you remember, I added work log with comments, and then there were attachments. You can see attachments are there in the fulfillment system.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, that's all from my side.
We can certainly come back on that part, but I'm not sure how quick we can, because we have to work with another team to see how they interact with the stub form. But core ITSM, everything will work. Business workflows, we tested it already.
Okay, yeah, got it. Yeah, because why I asked is, because HPM is another, custom IS application built on top of IS platform. And if you're able to, send across the comments and the attachment from the service request, then that can be, leveraged, for the custom applications as well, which we build. But yeah, anyways, thanks for the answers.
Sure.
Thank you for the question. Okay, Marek, I can see you've got a question. It's a rather long one, so if you can hear me, I know often you speak. Do you want to just ask your question to the team? Can you hear us okay? Can see you.
So
hello.
yes, so Mark, I see what you are saying. So you are saying irrespective whether you directly update incident or you directly update request through the email, will it basically pass on seamlessly between the systems, right? Answer is yes, but why would you really have two notifications? Is it for your you're concerned about your agents responding to the email and then that getting passed on to the requester?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. I thank you very much. Yeah, firstly, thank you for the presentation. It is one of the best one. I have to say thank you, thank you everyone. I think you answered already my question. It was in the time when I was just submitting the question, so it's okay. I see it's synchronized. That was my question. If we synchronize from both sides the comments, and it's nice. Yeah. Thank
Yep,
you.
yep.
Good work,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to hear from you, especially you very active on communities.
And on the
No way.
webinars.
Thank you.
Yeah, and on the webinars. Thanks, Merrick.
Yeah.
Okay. So our next question, I'm conscious of time. We've got a few minutes left. So if I do miss anyone out, I will make sure that the team will answer them. And for the rest that's still on here, if you can try and answer some of those questions. Mineth, your question about if my request got failed for some reason, can we notify my admins for the failure? If you want to come off mute, and I don't know who from the team Deepak can answer that, if they can come off mute as well.
I
Yeah,
think this is something we'll have to. I understand it failed because of certain reason. I'll have to circle back on this. I can talk to team. It definitely is a customization situation, but um, I will answer to with this with Q&A. Needs a little bit of brainstorming, but I understand. You have to really go and retrigger it. Right now, there is no capability. You can retrigger it, but you are not notifying the admin. So I will come back to it. Give me some time. I'll talk to my internal technical team about this and find out a solution for this.
sure, Deepak. Maybe this is one of the really required of functionality. Like, so it's tough for the admins. Like, they have to figure out how many records got failed, and they have to figure out like either they have to retry it or like they have to go for a resubmission of a request. So it would be great like if an admins or like a limited people get notified.
Yeah, I do not want to overcome it, but you saw the power of the this new notification engine. So yeah, it can be easily done. I feel it can be easily done. It's just that you will have to customize it a little bit. But what to customize is something I have to go back and talk to the architects really, because you need to look at the service request form. You need to understand the status. Based on that, you need to trigger a rule. So I'm already, when I'm talking, I'm already building that chain in my mind, how to execute. But I need to try it out to say, yes, it can be done. I don't want to make false promises, but I'll come back to you.
Sure, thanks.
Thank you. Mohammed, we'll come to your question. Why do we need both notifications, DWP and Smart IT?
I think probably a follow-up to other question which I answered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, somebody asked, will Smart IT and DWP both will be active? Is that right understanding, Mohammed?
Yes, there's an element of duplication and notifications that users
Yeah,
receive for the same thing. And Smart IT, but you'll get the incident number or the work order number, but in obviously DWP, there's ticket order number, and the users kind of get confused of which one to keep
to
up with. So
respond and
it's
yeah.
it's not a good
So,
experience.
so historically, customers had to really turn both on because there was no capability to respond back and approve really, and customizations and SRM. All of those limitations are gone. So my recommendation with this now moving forward, you saw the power of the notification engine. If you're moving away from SRM already, you are on catalog. Now it's time for you
Yeah.
to turn off the requester and requested for notifications completely from Smart IT. Let DWP handle it completely. All of those. So your Smart IT notifications is for your internal teams, agents really, no, and your managers, but not for your end users anymore. So it's time to make that shift with this new notification engine.
Okay.
But you have all the powers now that you can approve via email, you can comment via email. Because of that reason, people were using notification from Smart IT before, and even with business workflows, but not needed anymore. Honestly, it's a big change.
Thank you, Mohammed. Ellie, your question, how we can get the approval information with the justification. Do you want to come off mute as well, if you're still here?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi, Samantha. Hi. Thanks, everyone. I just want to ask because, like, I think that we are able to like do all the certification wise the email, but I'm just thinking like how we can get it from like the mid-tier form. So, is there any like anywhere we will store all the information?
Mid-tier form, you want specifically approval information?
Yeah, like
Or
who approve it, and then what is the certification, and then what is the time, something like that.
yeah, it comes from, so DWP is using approval engine completely behind the scene. There are schemas called AP detail, which is for approval details. There is one for signature, AP signature. When they both combine, they make AP detail signature, where you have the request ID number, schema, was it approved, who are the login IDs for the approval, and I think it also holds the justification. But this is not my product area. But one thing that what you see on the DWP side, you have all of that information. We are fetching that information from there. So you see, you see the approvers already here, right? You see now,
Yep.
start seeing the comments already, which I just showed you. The comments will also be available in the email, but you have to pull a report. It's not DWP which is maintaining, it's still the approval engine behind the scenes. So you need to explore approval
Right.
engine, especially
Okay.
AP detail signature schema, which holds all of that information.
Yeah, we know that's like AP signature one, but I'm just asking if there's anything that on DWP we can do that. But
So
yeah.
DWP, that's a good question. We are actually working on like a proof of concept, which is done, by the way, to show these timestamps on the UI for the end user. So the end user
Right.
know when was approval was triggered, when was it approved, was there a delay? Plus, we are also working on integrating service level management with native catalog services. Stay tuned. This will come up in the future. We are
Okay,
working on
great.
it already.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellie.
I think
I'm going to
we'll have to
take one
take the
more.
other questions.
Yeah,
No,
let me
we'll have to
take
take one
one
more.
more question we've got, and then we'll
Okay.
close. And Francis and Mohammed will get your questions answered in the Q&A. So our final question, Richard, because I can see you're still on, was we are looking at using the email comms from the service health module. Will these now be logged in the same way so we can report on them?
Okay, so as I said, if you looked at that slide of future vision, in this release, service health will not be available to you. So that means essentially what you are seeing here, service health, social appointments, external user, these notifications have no existence right now there with the new notification engine. You have to wait for the next release after this to get it from this engine. And as I said in the beginning, you can only use one engine at a time. So either you have to use the old engine, so you lose all those functionalities which I just showed you, till the time you have the service health notifications here. If let's say service health is not essential for you at this moment, I would switch you to new notification engine in 23.304, and subsequent upgrade will have that. But if it is must for your users to have the service health notification, wait for switching over to the new notification in the subsequent release, which is 3 to 6 months down the line, which is in year 2025 really. Should be somewhere in January, February, but I don't want to commit a date at this point.